What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck. Whew, I am feeling good. I feel, you know what? I feel like my social battery's a little bit spent right now, which makes this the perfect time to podcast with a small studio audience, my mother's basement. Thank you for joining me for episode 95 of SLC Puck. I'm your host, Austin Facer, and I was also the host of a fantastic watch party at a bar named Sue's Highland Drive location in Mill Creek today. Ton of fun. We had a really good turnout. I was really happy by the amount of Utah Hockey Club jerseys we saw there. The place was lively. The sound system was great. The game was good. The Utah Hockey Club won a 5-2 decision over the Chicago Blackhawks in the Windy City. We showed those guys what's what, right? They think they're so cool because they have like a bean in their town. You know what they don't have? They don't have a frickin' whale in their town like we do in Salt Lake. So I say point to Utah, and 2 points to Utah for the victory. You know, and we've been talking so much about the importance of the Utah Hockey Club needing to play nearly perfect hockey down the stretch to make it to the playoffs. I think today we're going to start to be a little bit more realistic about where we fall in the standings. Yes, we have been criminally optimistic at times on the show, but I think you guys deserve an honest show. You deserve a fair show. Those of you who have been listening, I ran into some people at the watch party who told me they had been watching since like episode 4, like when the show sucked. And I mean, now it sucks differently. It sucks better, but that was really cool. Again, thank you to you guys who came to Bar Named Sue. I think that's a great place for watch parties. So I'm looking forward to continuing that partnership with the guys. Max and Tyson do a great job, and yeah, it was awesome. And again, big thanks to those guys who came in and got some prizes. Got some drinks. We did the power play cocktail at the watch party. It was a really good time. I really did enjoy that. So big thanks to you guys. Stay tuned for the next one. I know you guys get irritated by my commercials that I plug into the show, you know, promoting these watch parties. That's how I'm trying to let you know they're happening, all right? I want the SLC Puck listeners there. I also want the SLC Puck listeners wearing my merch. And I've got some fantastic merch items in the shop. I've been playing around with the shop a little bit, trying to optimize it for you guys. I made a section right here I call the heavy hitters. These are kind of our best sellers that we've had over the last few months here. The hoodie, the Crownburger hat, the Crownburger shirt. My buddy Taylor bought the Crownburger shirt, told me it's his favorite shirt now. Said it's a very deep red, as it were. It comes out in the print. So little pucker shirt, something for the kids. A lot of kids like my show, which would surprise me. I did not know that was going to happen before I started. I didn't know I was making children's programming when I started. And I'm happy to. Nashcast is kind of the same way too, really. Like Nashcast has become a lot sweeter than I think we thought it would be, which is great. And we're excited about that. And I'll just plug that really quick. I just got a text from Tyson Nash, like literally 30 minutes ago. He's really excited about our last 2 Nashcasts to finish off the year. We're going to do 2 more to finish off. We've had some awesome guests. We had Ryan Smith. We had Robert Bertuzzo. We had Liam O'Brien. We had some puppets. We had Jeremy Roenick. We had Mike Madonna. Like this is all just in our rookie year. You know, the first time getting the show off the ground. And, you know, we're really excited to finish strong for Nashcast. So tomorrow, Tyson and I are going to have a quick phone call and figure this out. Maybe I should surprise him and just show up at his house. I wonder how he would react. A phone call would have worked there, Austin. Yeah, no worries. But man, I tell you, you know who didn't phone it in today was the Utah Hockey Club. I'll tell you that. The 5-2 victory over Chicago was awesome. It was kind of a vintage veggie performance. A lot of big saves by our favorite vegetable man in net. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. A lot of other guys who had great games, but you know, prior to our last episode, we kind of previewed a big trip to the Sunshine State, which apologies if I have any listeners out there, I would submit is probably one of the most wretched places on the face of the earth. I'll say this, the Utah Hockey Club's trip to Florida went about as well as my trip to Florida when I moved there in 2020, 3 weeks before COVID hit. Holy moly, that was bad. Kicked off that trip with a horrific trip to Tampa Bay place that I didn't get to visit when I was in Florida, but oh well. Yeah, it didn't go very well for the Utah Hockey Club. An 8-0 smashing by one of the better clubs in the National Hockey League, a team that could win the Stanley Cup, and the Lightning have been one of the better clubs in the National Hockey League for the better part of a decade now. But it was a really poor effort, kind of from puck drop to the final buzzer. Mikhail Sergachev was a little bit critical of the team's effort. Andre Tourigny was not happy as well. Not a ton of positives to take away from an 8-0 smashing. I think Utah Hockey Club got to look at what what the elite level looks like, and they suffered their worst loss of the season. 8-0. I'll say this for the Utah Hockey Club though. I think it's really encouraging that they didn't have any of these big losses at home. I think this season, to as best as I can remember, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one, they haven't had like a big blowout loss at home yet, and which I would say is kind of a big achievement because I think actually playing in Utah was harder on these guys than we think, just in terms of like it being a new routine. Everything was different. I think there was a little bit of a I guess deer in the headlights kind of thing, just playing in front of such a bigger, audience, going from the Mullet Arena, whatever it's called down there in Tempe, to Delta Center, having 2 or 3 times, more than twice, almost 3 times, sometimes on some nights 4 times as many fans. So again, and that's something I'll touch on in just a second. But again, yeah, that Tampa Bay loss, that was ugly. And I said this going into this trip. I'm like, okay, Utah Hockey Club has a chance. It's not a very good chance. Let's acknowledge that. To get to that point total that we talked about, they can really only afford to lose once in regulation. Again, just one more loss in regulation and then another loss in overtime. Guess what happened the next night? Their overtime loss to the Florida Panthers, which was a better game. The defending champion Florida Panthers are a really good team. I think on this trip, what we saw, even though the Utah Hockey Club did not pick up 2 points in either game, didn't take home a dub, in either one of these trips to Florida, they got to look at some teams that know how to win and who have veterans, who have all-stars, guys who know how to win in a variety of different settings. And I think that was kind of my takeaway from Florida. They were really impressive in a lot of different ways, but they bared down. They didn't flinch. They took Utah to the brink. Utah played very well, getting them into overtime and securing the 1 point. But I think at this point, it's really time to start to be more realistic and less diluted, less delulu. I think, isn't that what the kids say nowadays? The Gen Z, I'm starting to get more into TikTok just because I'm trying to grow the show on social media and all that. So you'll see a lot more tomfoolery on TikTok and Instagram, and delulu is a term that I kind of think is fun. I like these abbreviations the Gen Z kids are doing. Delulu is a good one. I think the other one I really like, and I'll say this, a lot of what the Gen Z kids are doing is stupid, right? Like let's just be honest. Like it's a lot of it's like horrifyingly dumb. Delulu's good. Riz is one that I really like. I really like the term Riz, which is sort of a short version of charisma. Like when you're really like spitting game to somebody, you're rizzing them up, and I like that one a lot. The Rizzler too. I like the Rizzler. He's that little fat kid who goes to Costco with AJ and Big Justice. I like so there's things in this younger generation that I like coming up, and that includes the Utah Hockey Club. A lot of kids in that younger generation who I think are really coming up. Logan Cooley's one of them, who's had a really nice stretch to finish the year. I think he had a little bit of a cold streak here for a couple weeks, but he's kind of coming into his own. He achieved a $250,000 incentive for his goal totals. I believe he has 22 goals now on the season. So I think that put him over his incentive requirement. So kudos to him. It's 22 more goals than I scored this year. So, hats off to the 20-year-old for that. Logan Cooley's just 20 years old. And the way he skates is incredible. He's got such a great shot. He's feisty. I think he's a guy people are going to really, really like having here in Utah for a long time. And he scored in the Chicago game as well. You know who else scored in the Chicago game? was Kyler Yamamoto, who was called up from Tucson. He was a point per game player. And just to refresh your memory on Mr. Yamamoto, he was the former first-round draft pick who was on a PTO with the Utah Hockey Club in the summer, came in on a tryout, secured a two-way deal. He played really well in preseason, secured a two-way deal. He played 3 games with the Utah Hockey Club in October, but for the most part, he's been down in Tucson with the Roadrunners. He was a point-per-game player there. He's kind of been rebuilding his career, right? He's been auditioning for a job. He got a chance, got called up. I believe it might have been between the I think it was between the Tampa Bay and the Florida game. I think he was activated for the first time in the Florida game. If I'm off on that, forgive me. But it doesn't matter. What we're going to talk about is the game he played today against Chicago. And again, I'm talking to you guys on March 30th. You'll probably see this tomorrow on KSL.com, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. But today was Yam's best NHL game in nearly a year. I think he scored his first goal since April 12th or 13th of last year. So really good for him to get on the boards. The way he scored his goal was by doing something with the team as a whole, by the team doing something that we've been begging them to do all season, which was getting pucks on net. You know, they were getting, I think that was something we saw in almost all their goals today. A lot of their goals against the Blackhawks were the result of rebounds, deflections. Yamamoto's rebound was a little bit fluky. It was a really long rebound. The Chicago goalie was way out of position, and the puck careened from a 45-degree angle one way, came back the other. Yamamoto had a wide open net and knocked a slap shot home for his first goal in nearly a year. So again, like getting pucks on net, guys. I mean, I know some of the players watch the show. I know some of their family watch the show. Happy to have you. Hey, thanks for your support. All that good stuff. Pucks on net. Pucks on net. You know, I think we saw that's definitely a catalyst to good play. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to remind you that our incredible giveaway with Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry is still going on. I can't even tell you how many people I've heard from who have gotten their gift cards, and they're super excited to head into either one of those locations. Jonathan's Jewelry up in Cottonwood Heights, Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers at Trolley Square. They're like, yo, I can't wait. I can't wait to use my $250 gift card. We've given away like 16, 15, 18, 17. We've given away a ton of gift cards. We've been doing this promotion since February. For every episode of SLC Puck, we've been giving away one gift card to Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers or Jonathan's Jewelry. And here's the great news. This promotion is continuing through the summer, people. All you have to do is scan this QR code right here, hit send on the message. I already typed it up for you, and you're in. Simplest raffle, simplest giveaway you'll ever enter. It's just that easy. And here's what's best. Anyone can be a winner. All you have to do is go into either one of those locations, Jonathan's Jewelry or Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers, and just mention SLC Puck. They'll knock $100 off your purchase right then and there. No questions asked. You're going to love working with the guys over there to get something special for your special someone. So big thanks to Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry for their support of SLC Puck. And yeah, enter the giveaway. Get in it and get yourself something nice, or get something nice for someone you care about. And let's get back to the show. But, you know, so getting back to winning ways after a horrific trip to Florida, they washed the Florida stink off them, which, again, speaking from experience, is one of the most cathartic experiences you can have, is getting the Florida stink off of you. The swamp stickiness is not fun. It can affect your relationship with other people and with the world. So really, really, really happy for the Utah Hockey Club to put that trip to Florida behind them. But now looking ahead, right? Like, again, I've said this, guys, I know, like, we've been living in this state of borderline delulu here for a little bit, right? But here's the reality, and it pains me to say this. It does not seem very likely that the Utah Hockey Club will make the postseason here in their inaugural season in Utah. I mean, the reality is they've been in a playoff hunt. It's kind of been a 4-horse race for that last spot in the wild card. And I'll just hop over onto my second screen here. We've talked about these teams for weeks now. We've talked about the St. Louis Blues, the Vancouver Canucks, the Calgary Flames, right? And the Utah Hockey Club being the 4 teams competing for that last wild card spot. And I'll tell you, St. Louis just took off and ran with it over the last week or so. They've won 9 in a row. They put a lot of distance between themselves and the rest of the pack. I mean, the St. Louis is playing so well. They have a chance to compete for one of these upper positions right now. St. Louis has 87 points. That ties them with the Minnesota Wild for that first wild card spot. So St. Louis is getting in somewhat comfortably right now. The cushion between them and the first team out, Vancouver, is now 6 points. So they're the first ones out. The Canucks, the Flames after them have 80 points, and they have a couple games in hand. But again, they're 7 points behind St. Louis, who's red hot right now. Utah Hockey Club behind the Calgary Flames with 78 points and just one game in hand on St. Louis. So they're now, what's the math on that? They're now 9 points out. Again, just one game in hand. Over the last 10 games, Utah is 5-4-1. So the window is not shut yet. But let's just put it this way. If it was a jar, you wouldn't feel much of a breeze. It's very close to being sealed. And I always show you guys this, the moneypuck.com playoff odds here. Again, at MoneyPuck, feel free to send the residual checks whenever you'd like. Happy to send all this traffic from Utah your way. But you see here, the playoff odds here, Utah right now is the last team with any signs of life, but still on the outside. With a 0.7% chance of making the postseason, which to me, and again, those of you who are smarter than me out there watching the show, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that suggests that there is a 99.3% likelihood that it won't happen. So I think it's probably safe to say Utah Hockey Club probably won't make the playoffs this year, right? And it's hard to say. I think this is the first time we've said that on this show. And we're saying it on a day that the Utah Hockey Club won a game, right? We got a nice win over the cellar dwellers, the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, and it is fun to see that they still have a chance. I've been having some fun with it on social media. Again, like I said, I've been on TikTok a little bit more because I'm trying to fit in with the cool Gen Z kids and riz them up a little bit. And I will continue to do this joke as long as I can. This is the Lloyd Christmas meme right here.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
By the way, if any of you guys get a chance to meet Craig Amazine, who's the executive producer for the Utah Hockey Club broadcast, he works with Tyson and I on Nashcast. He has the most incredible Dumb and Dumber Jim Carrey story that I've ever heard. I'm not even going to pretend that I can tell it as well as he does, or I don't want to insult the story. I've never been so jealous of a person's story. Apparently, I'll just tease a little bit. Craig was living in Breckenridge, Colorado, when they were filming Dumb and Dumber there. And yes, they did film parts of that movie in Utah as well, but they filmed a good chunk of the snow scenes in Breckenridge. And anyway, he got to hang out with Jim Carrey one night, and again, the way Craig tells the story, I just am so jealous that he got to have that experience. But again, I think Craig would be honest with you guys too. I think you'll see the tone in the coverage around the Utah Hockey Club shift a little bit. It's not in the cards for the Utah Hockey Club to make the postseason this year. I mean, there's still a chance, just like Lloyd was saying, but I think the rest of the hockey world would be looking at you the same way Merry Christmas was. Or what was Swanson? Mary Swanson. Yeah, the same way Mary Swanson was looking at Lloyd. Okay. So here's the reality, right? Let's get back to reality. This is the real podcast right now, where we say real things that are true. Okay, the Utah Hockey Club probably is not going to make the playoffs this year. There's over a 99% chance they won't. So what does the rest of the season mean? That's a great question. Let's look at the schedule. I think it jumps off the screen to me, but I can tell you right now what the rest of the schedule really means. If you look right here, beginning on April 1st, April Fools, we're not fooling around here, guys. This is the truth. Utah Hockey Club will play its final homestand of the inaugural season, the 2024-2025 season, with a 5-game homestand that includes the Flames on the 1st, the Kings on the 3rd. That's a big one. That's probably going to be Trevor Lewis's last game in Utah, it's kind of cool, pretty noteworthy. He's probably the most successful Utahn to play in the NHL so far. They host the Jets on Saturday the 5th, the Kraken on the 8th of April, And then the final home game of the year, a very winnable game against one of the worst teams in the NHL on April 10th against the Nashville Predators. So again, this is what I expect this final stretch to be, right? The Utah Hockey Club's out of the race, pretty much. Not going to happen. Probably not going to happen. Very likely not going to happen. I hope that they really view this stretch, and we'll continue to cover this. The next episode of SLC Puck will be Wednesday the 2nd. But I really hope they come into this stretch of games and see this last homestand as a way to write a love letter to the fans here in Utah, because we talk so much on the show about like all the different stories that have made the season so fun. Karel Vejmelka is one, Mikhail Sergachev, Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, Dylan Guenther. That's a big story, right? Sean Durzee's another one. Nick Schmaltz, GMBA, Bill Armstrong. All these great stories that we've been covering. But I'll tell you this, like as someone who's a member of this community and someone who kind of is in an interesting place right now, I feel like I can observe things from a very unique vantage point. I see this from the perspective of a fan. I see this as the perspective of someone who helps out on the team side with the Utah Hockey Club broadcast. I see this as someone who also is in the media, right, and trying to be an objective observer of what's happening. The story of the year is the fans. I really think that's true. I think the way that we've come out as a state to support the Utah Hockey Club, to do like nutty things, like to create like a funny culture, all the memes that have been created on Twitter, all the fun that's been happening on social media, like my goofy social media presence, my goofy podcast, all the other podcasts that we've been seeing, like all the ways that people have embraced these jerseys that were thrown together but just look awesome. They just like they accidentally hit home runs. Like it's been nuts. But the story of the year to me has been the state of Utah. Like I think we have shown the world in a year where hockey has been such a part of the sports conversation. I mean, the Four Nations face-off was incredible, but I think you can go around to basically anyone who covers hockey on a big level, on a national level, on perhaps even a global level. The state of Utah as a whole has to be one of the biggest stories, and the way we've embraced this team. And I really hope that the players recognize this. I think they do. We've heard the way they talk about the fans for quite a while. We've heard, I mean, they get asked about it all the time, and they say almost the same thing. I think they really feel a genuine sense of gratitude and appreciation for the state of Utah and for the fans. And so this is it. This is it, guys. You got 5 games to give the fans a show. I fully expect the Utah Hockey Club to do that. I think maybe if this was any other team, and they were out on the outside looking in, I think you could see guys mailing it in, going through the motions, hey, it's a lost cause. What do I need to back? I mean, they would be playing like I play. Like I play like this on Wednesdays with the other guys in the media. I'm like, why would I back check? That makes no sense. I'm not going to back check. I'm going to stay on the other side of the red line, ready to maybe take a bad shot on net on Jay Stevens, right? That's not the way the Utah Hockey Club is going to approach the last 5 games. I think you'll see guys flying all over the ice. There are a lot of guys on the team who are still auditioning for jobs for next season, and that is something that's very, very much on the minds of a lot of professional athletes when they go into a contract here. Like, okay, I've got to show Bill Armstrong or the other 31 general managers around the National Hockey League that I am worthy of a long-term contract, that I need that stability, right? So, I mean, let's look at the Utah Hockey Club roster breakdown. And I think we can look at these contracts and kind of give hints for who's going to really show out over the next couple weeks at Delta Center. I think you'll see Nick Bugstad have a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent after the season. He did not get a contract extension at the trade deadline like a lot of the other players did, and he had a great game today, scored a goal on a deflection from Nick DeSimone. I think you'll see him skating his buns off. Jack McBain is another one. I'm excited to see him perform for the fans at the Delta Center. He's going to be a restricted free agent next year, so Utah's going to have the first crack at signing him, right? But he's going to be And you can see it. He plays with that intensity well. He had a terrific fight against Pat Maroon today. Michael Carcone is another one. If he gets reactivated, he's been out of the lineup in favor of Kyler Yamamoto. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. I think he's going to be working his buns off, flying all over the ice, being the fastest skater on the team that he is. And not to mention Kyler Yamamoto. He needs a job next year as well. I think he's going to be looking to perform in a big way. Nick DeSimone is another one. Robert Bertuzzo, who's missed a significant chunk of time, and in the time he was out, he joined us on Nashcast, and he was fantastic. But he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year as well, right? And let's not forget this Matt Vialta, and if I said the name wrong, I apologize. I feel like I kind of nailed that though. He got called up to help. Jackson Stauber was sent down. He had a bad outing against Tampa Bay, so they're going to give Vialta a look. I would expect in one of these games down the stretch. Veggie started 17 games. Still, so again, I think you're going to see a lot of intensity, a lot of these guys on the third and fourth lines mixing it up, battling for pucks in the corners, back checking, doing something I would never do. I think that we're in store for a great final homestand in Utah, and we can put the pressure away, you know. Like again, let's just be real. Like it's probably not going to happen for the Utah Hockey Club this season. We're probably not going to host a Stanley Cup playoff game at Delta Center, which I probably isn't. You know, I mean, with all the renovation they need to do, I'm sure that's not like a huge, problem. Probably would have created a lot more problems, right? Had they had to host some playoff games this year. The Jazz aren't making the playoffs this year. I don't know if you knew that. This might be the worst Jazz. This is the worst Jazz team of all time. But again, another one. Sorry, Matias Michelli, who has been in and out of the lineup a good portion this year. I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to light the lamp in a big way over this last homestand as well. But again, we can remove the pressure. We can remove the need for an outcome, a specific outcome, and just go out there. We can enjoy some great hockey. We can enjoy some guys battling for their careers, battling for their lives. And I fully expect the Utah Hockey Club, as I said, to write a love letter to the fans. And what might that love letter read like? That's a good question. I do write. I like to write. But I think under pressure right now, which is doing a podcast in one recording, trying not to mess up as little as possible, I'm not going to write a letter right now. I'm going to solicit the help of ChatGPT, which is something that everybody does these days to write their letters. So I have ChatGPT pulled up. And let's just enter a prompt here, okay? Again, I'm not a prompt engineer, but we can just see here how it goes. Let's just see here. I'm telling ChatGPT what to do. You will assume the role of the Utah Hockey Club. You will... Sorry for the spelling. See, this is pressure. Write a love letter to the fans for their support during this inaugural. Oh, see, I know how to spell, guys. Don't worry. I have a communications degree from a public school. I know how to spell. For the inaugural season of the team being in Utah. That's poor syntax, but whatever. Let's hit prompt. Let's see what we get. Absolutely. Here's a heartfelt love letter from the Utah Hockey Club to its fans. Here we go, and I'll read it for you guys. To our incredible fans, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. When the NHL came to Utah, we knew this would be something special. I knew that too. But none of us could have predicted just how powerful, passionate, and loyal this community would be. You've shown up in droves, filling the arena with noise, pride, and an energy that rivals the most storied hockey cities in the world. This inaugural season hasn't just been the start of a new franchise, it's been the start of a new family. I like that. A family of diehard fans, lifelong hockey lovers, and brand new believers. That's good alliteration. I like that. Who fell in love with the game the moment the puck dropped in Salt Lake City. We've seen your signs, heard your chants, felt your heartbeat in every goal, every save, every fight for the puck along the boards. You've waited in the cold, cheered in the rain. That's not true. I mean, I guess there was a little bit of snow, but there's no rain in the Delta Center. At least I'm not aware of. And stuck with us through every high. Maybe it's a figurative rain. It's probably up. And stuck with us through every high and low. You've turned downtown into a sea of black and frost blue. It's mountain blue. You've turned Utah into a hockey state. You've welcomed us with open arms. And in return, we've given everything we have, not just to build a team, but to build a legacy you can be proud of. This is only the beginning. Thank you for being the heartbeat of this club. Thank you for the standing ovations, the unwavering faith, the jerseys worn with pride, and the kids who now dream of playing for Utah one day. That's big, for sure. You are not just fans. You are the founders of something truly historic. Here's to what we built together. Here's to what's coming next. Here's to Utah hockey forever. With all our love and gratitude, the Utah Hockey Club. That's a really nice letter. Thank you, ChatGPT. You did a great job. ChatGPT has been a great tool for this podcast. I'll tell you what, if you guys could see like the prompts that I have on the side, it's been my favorite assistant, other than my sister Sammy, who has been fantastic, and my mother, who have been very supportive. So anyway, yeah, let's the Utah Hockey. It's up to Utah Hockey Club now. The ChatGPT can't play the games. The fellas do, and they can write their own letter with their play over the next couple weeks. So excited to see that. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of SLC Puck. 95 episodes in the book. 100 is coming. Let's get to 1,000 by then. Come on. Let's go. And don't forget, scan and win QR code from our good friends at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers. $250 gift card up for grabs every episode of SLC Puck. The winners have been notified, and I've heard they're very excited to get their prize and to go in to see the good stuff at Payne Anthony Creative Jewelers and Jonathan's Jewelry. More watch parties on the way. Follow me on social media. Call into the hotline. If you say something I like, I'll play it on the show. KSL.com, newsletters, Sunday, Thursday, lots of stuff, right? Get involved, get into it. I love doing it, and I love you guys. We'll appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon. See you later.